Mansfield today, and as usual on this particular day, we take a look at things motoring. Segi Mudley, nice to have you with us.
You've forgotten it's Friday.
No, all I have to say, on a day like today, when people see you sitting in this chair, they know, oh, Friday.
It's Friday again.
They see the beginning of what they call the Mudley hangover arising. Who are we chatting to today, Segi?
Well, Jeremy, we've had all these viewers giving us all their problems. I thought it'd be good to have the Motor Industry Ombudsman advise them and us as to how they can go about resolving their motoring complaints.
Okay. Now, the Motoring Ombudsman, I've never met the gentleman or lady.
Lucius Bodibe from the Ombudsman's office will be joining us to handle all our questions and your queries. You all have all the hard queries that I can't really answer.
Lucius, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us on Mansfield today.
It's all a pleasure, Jeremy. All a pleasure.
Right, Sigi, do you want to take the first shot at Lucius?
I've been taking shots at Lucius the whole time he's been the ombudsman. Lucius, just give us a quick breakdown as to what the ombudsman was designed to do and why the ombudsman came about.
The Motor Industry Ombudsman of South Africa was born by Section 82.6 of the Consumer Protection Act 68 of 2008. This act also gave birth to the South African Automotive Industry Code of Conduct, which recommended that there should be an ombudsman that would perform an ADR function, an alternative dispute resolution function between motor vehicle buyers, services, consumers of services, and the automotive industry at large. The code was signed off by the president in October 2014, and it became effective in January 2015. And then the Motor Industry Ombudsman became the only accredited ombud scheme to do alternative dispute resolution for the industry.
Okay, so Lucius, who then pays the salary of the ombudsman? Is that money recouped from the automotive industry?
The code mandates each and everyone that is within the automotive space to contribute towards the budget of the Motor Industry Ombudsman. The code provides for a funding model. Remember now we have small, medium, mega, and big dealerships and large dealerships. Same applies to shops, same applies to engineering shops. So the funding model actually creates a balance between the bigger boys and the smaller ones. In other words, there is a fee that is allocated for the smaller ones as compared to the bigger ones.
Okay, Lucius, having said that and where you get paid from, how can a consumer be assured that your decision is not biased towards a dealership?
Sagi, from the inception of the Ombud scheme, remember the Motor Industry Ombudsman has been in existence since the early 2000s. Since early 2000, we have successfully defended our independence. Uh, Although dealerships, manufacturers, and OEMs and the likes are contributing towards the budget of the Ombud, they do not get involved in day-to-day running of this office. Neither do they have any influence over the resolution of complaints. So we draw our mandate from the CPA, the preamble of the CPA. Remember, the preamble says the CPA was enacted to protect and to promote the interest of consumers and nobody else. However, because we are a responsible corporate citizen, we are guided by the principles of natural justice, fairness, equity, and the principle of natural justice. I mean, of good engineering practices. So we are fair at all times. We are independent and impartial.
Lucius, this may sound like a silly question, but it suddenly occurred to me while you were talking. What would happen if I was, let's say, an OEM of sorts, and I was manufacturing a product on behalf of a big one of the major car retailers or manufacturers, and I had a problem with them, would I be in a position to go to the ombudsman as well, or is this only between consumer and anybody to do with the motor industry manufacturing sector as a whole?
Yes, you can. The code allows you as a small engineering shop or a service provider to that is supplying service to the bigger boys like mega and bigger dealerships um, to log a complaint against bigger boys. But it's only the code that allows you to do that, and you will definitely receive a service of alternative dispute resolution.
Lucius, let's come down to the crux of the thing. Why you guys are really there with all the complaints and things you're
Yes.
getting? You must be getting 1,000 a day or 10,000 a day. What is the turnaround time, and how many of these resolutions are happily settled?
Second, we remember initially we had a manual application system. Now we also have an online application system where consumers can log complaints online. And this system is so good to the extent that the consumer receives his or her reference number instantly, and the email address and the name of a person to whom that case has been assigned. Now, once the case has been logged with us, the code mandates us to determine a dispute. Um, in the first place, we will allow the dealership the opportunity to impart their side of story. Of course, we don't hold physical conciliations. We do these things through correspondence. So we will send a dealership a notice to respond within 10 days as per the act. And if the dealer, for some reasons like continued technical testing or in depth technical testing, cannot respond to us within 10 days or can foresee that they may not be able to respond within 10 days, the code allows them to ask for an extension. So that extension will be assessed by the case manager that's handling that case to check and see if it is actually justified. And then the case manager will then, after assessing the request, and grant the dealer extension. Now, the code allows us to resolve a dispute 8 weeks after we've received all the relevant documentations. In other words, we gather information for that period, and then once we have received a satisfactory answer from the dealer or a relevant documents such as job cards, invoice, independent assessment, technical reports, and all those, the code allows us to resolve that case.
What happens in a case? Well, I'm sure you have quite a few of this where the client is not satisfied. Can they go beyond the ombudsman?
Yes, Sagi, the Act, the CPA, allows the consumer to approach the National Consumer Commission. Uh, we will Let me give you an example. If we found in favor of the consumer and the dealer drags their feet in adhering to our recommendations, the consumer will come back to us and say, listen, guys, the dealership did not adhere to your recommendations. What can I do? Then, in terms of Section 71, the consumer can then approach the National Consumer Commission, and we will give the consumer his or her complete file, a hard copy file, so that he can approach the commission. Same applies to when the dealership or a workshop did not respond to the Motor Industry Ombudsman. In terms of Section 70 of the Act allows us to inform the consumer that the dealer did not respond, and therefore we cannot go ahead with the complaint, and we are now advising him or her to approach the National Consumer Commission in terms of the Act.
Lucius, this is a point that I have a problem with. You, as the
Yes.
ombudsman, cannot enforce the decision you've made. Let's say it's against the dealership. You can't then go to that particular dealership and say, listen, guys, this is our ruling, stick to it, get it done now. You have to go further. So, how effective is the ombudsman if the dealer is not prepared to listen to you?
The ombudsman is very effective, if you can remember, Segi. Um, and we have a good story to tell. From the inception of the ombud schemes, a majority of the dealerships, manufacturers, OEM service providers has acted on our recommendations at an early stage. It's only the smaller boys that sometimes claim not to have received our letters because of maybe power outages or because of some reasons. But our system is designed in a way that whenever we receive a call or a complaint, we will call the dealer to ascertain or to make sure that that dealership still exists, and we would record that telephone conversation and attach it to the complaint. We have succeeded. Only smaller dealerships and naughty boys that are prone to not adhere to our recommendations. Even though we're not a court of law, but we have a good success rate.
So percentage-wise, is it 80%, 70%, 90% of the time that the dealers actually?
It's safe to say 90%, Sagi.
Oh, that's a good percentage.
That's a great percentage.
Yeah, it's 90%. So you look, I'm standing here today to tell you that we have built a relationship with almost all the associations across the country. Uh, I do visit dealerships.
Yes,
Uh,
I saw your
and
Facebook page.
Yes, and I educate them. I have collaborated with South African Police Service, Second-Hand Good Act Division, the Vispol Command. We do awareness. We remind dealerships of their obligations in terms of the act. And I can tell you now, Miosa, beginning of this year, we sent the page that speaks to the dealerships' obligations to more than 12,500 dealerships across the country and advise them to display that page on their showroom floor or maybe around their workshop areas where consumers can see what are their obligations in terms of the act.
Fantastic.
Lucius, this is a final remark. Uh,
Yes.
and I'm very glad you brought up the concept of working with your partners, or people you see as your partners, because you've got to work together in a situation like this. Those partnerships must be vital to the Office of the Ombudsman.
They are important. Remember, we have 9 provinces in the country. Each and every province do have a consumer protection office. We have collaborated with all of them. We have a referral protocol. Let us say a consumer in Matatiele where there are no facilities such as emailing and faxing facilities, and consumer has a complaint. A consumer is able to go to the local consumer protection office. They will take his complaint, load it on the system for him, send it to us, and then we will then communicate with the consumer through that provincial consumer protection office. Of 9 provinces, we only have 6 consumer courts. Only few, I think 3, is safe to say, that do not have consumer courts. We do work with consumer courts across the country. I'm talking to you like this. We are going to represent a consumer at a consumer court in Ladybrand this Friday. So we're working hand in hand with all consumer protection authorities for the or to the benefit of a consumer in the dealerships.
Lucius, thank you very much for joining us on Mansfield today. It's been fascinating talking to you, and congratulations on the work that you guys are doing. As consumers, we take our hats off to you.
Thanks, Lucius.
It's a great pleasure. And thank you, Sagi. And thank you very much. The Motor Industry Ombudsman, like we've sent an email to everyone who's been corresponding with us. We will be going into reassess on the 10th of this month, and then we will resume on the 10th of January. However, remember, my job is 24/7. I will be joining the Road Traffic Management Corporation. Every roadblock, you'll find the Motor Industry Ombudsman distributing information. I'm starting with Gauteng and ending up with KZN.
Thank you, Lucius.
You're going to be working hard over this period, I can see, but hopefully get some time to have some rest and have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year to you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Cheers, Lucius. Lucius, the Ombudsman. It's actually very nice talking to him and hearing what the results they are getting.
Yes, and I just wanted to make it clear as well. That's why I asked him the percentages. You can't have 100% because then you're not doing your jobs. You got to have some unhappy people. Yeah.
Siggy, like you said, you can't always get 100%. You give me your mark for today. Siggy's mark for today, 48.
Okay, I'm happy with that. It's better than 30.
Siggy, we'll chat to you again next week. Mark.
Chat to you next week,
Okay,
Gerald.
cheers. And cheers to you as well from all of us here at Mansfield today.